The glitz and glamour can get to people sometimes. Unfortunately, these are some examples of childhood fame gone wrong. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and these are the top 10 former child actors who couldn't handle their fame. Number 10, Macaulay Culkin. Having been in the acting industry since the age of 4, Culkin was only 9 when he starred in the first Home Alone movie and became a household name shortly afterwards. He was eventually named by VH1 in 2005 as the second greatest child actor of all time. Culkin was also nominated for a Golden Globe for his appearance in the iconic Christmas film. And he also won that year's Young Artist Award for Best Young Actor in a Film Role. Like, this dude, it was on an upward spiral. Culkin decided to leave the acting industry at the age of 14 in 1994, shortly after he appeared as the lead in Donald Petrie's comedy film Richie Rich. He took this step essentially because he felt tired of the industry and his parents' control over him. The Culkins do not have a great relationship with their father, Kit, who has 8 children, 2 of whom are no longer with us. Macaulay, for instance, has spoken about how he was very physical towards them growing up. In a 2019 profile with Esquire, Macaulay portrayed his father as a controlling bully who pushed his sons into the acting business because he just couldn't achieve success for himself. He told many people in his life and later in interviews that acting had become a chore instead of something that he enjoyed doing. He wanted a normal childhood, so he quit and made it happen. Thankfully, he has since returned to the acting world, most notably in season 10 of the FX series American Horror Story, and he's married to former Disney star Brenda Song. So things seem to work out in the end there. Number 9, Amanda Bynes. Amanda got her lucky break on the Nickelodeon sketch series All That. Eventually, the producers decided to offer Amanda her own show. Her success only grew from there, and the Amanda Bynes show became one of Nickelodeon's most watched series, and she was picked up by several studios to star in non-Nickelodeon projects like She's the Man and Easy A. But Amanda took a hiatus in 2013 following a very public mental breakdown. According to Amanda, she had become addicted to the devil's lettuce at a young age, and while it wasn't an addiction at first, with more roles came more pressure and a need to find a new way to cope. This eventually led her to more drastic substances. In 2013, Amanda posted a series of bizarre tweets where she seemed to be insulting everybody that she could think of. She even called the former President Barack Obama's wife ugly, clearly referencing a character from The Amanda Show, but it's still pretty harsh. She was arrested and placed under psychiatric hold as she was accused of several hit-and-run incidents and was officially charged with reckless endangerment and criminal possession of herbs and spices. Her parents then placed her under a conservatorship until 2022 when she stood in front of a judge, healthier and better than ever. Number 8, Huy Quan. Huy Quan is one of 2 Goonies on this list, playing the character Data in the 1985 classic. He was also short round in the Indiana Jones movies, delivering some iconic one-liners and cementing himself as a legend in the world of child acting. Around the end of 1991, he decided to take a break from the acting world as the fame and fortune was slowly becoming too stressful. He took a break from acting for over 20 years before making a triumphant return to the silver screen in 2022's Everything Everywhere All at Once as Waymond, the lovable universe-jumping husband. In fact, he was so good in that role, he received the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, delivering a tearful speech that I really can't talk about because I'm gonna cry too. Number 7, Lil Tay. Lil Tay is a rapper, and according to the photos that pop up when you Google her, it looks like she has a phone made from $100 bills. Not sure what that's about. Recently, she popped up in the news after someone shared the information that herself and her brother had passed away. This took the internet by storm, and her fans were devastated. However, it turns out that she is still very much alive, and in a statement given to TMZ from Tay's family, she made it perfectly clear that she is safe and still kicking, and she said the last 24 hours had been particularly rough. Apparently, her Instagram account was hacked by some third party, and they used it to spread misinformation and just straight up rumors. But much like me, these guys didn't know how to spell stuff, so the first clue was that her name was literally misprinted several times. What's still unclear is why it took Tay 24 hours to get word out that she was alive, especially because she says she was aware that her account was hacked and was getting phone calls about her passing. She got famous as being one of the world's youngest flexers, literally making money by pretending to have money on the internet. But she stopped doing that in 2018 after receiving so much online hate. And that's why many people were confused why her account had posted this announcement when it had been so inactive for so long. Number 6, Lindsey Lohan. Lindsey is a jack of all trades. She acts, she sings, she dances, she writes, and she's even the queen of her own business empire. Now, despite all of this though, this former Disney star and Hollywood bad girl has a net worth of like $500,000. Well, that is apparently because she loves to take nice long vacations, like all of the time. Lohan has been forced to declare bankruptcy a few times, and as we know, she fell out of the mainstream and started a very public battle with substance control, basically quitting the acting world forever because she just got too into the partying lifestyle. This left Lindsey in the 600 figure range, making her poor by Hollywood standards. Eventually, this young child actor entered rehab and kicked their bad habits right into oncoming traffic. It wasn't until she posed for Playboy and opened up about her life on Oprah Winfrey's talk show that her finances began to stabilize, she started getting more roles again, so here's hoping that we get that Freaky Friday sequel we've all been waiting for. Number 5. Jeff Cohen. Jeff's name may not be familiar to you, but his most iconic and only acting role certainly is. Jeff played Chunk in the much-loved classic adventure flick The Goonies. Chunk was one of the many young actors in search of the treasure of One-Eyed Willie, so they could save their small seaside neighborhood from being bulldozed to the ground. And this movie has aged like a fine wine. It just gets better and better the older you get. Jeff stole the show and truly stood out among the ensemble who could forget his notorious interrogation scene? That dude almost got his hand blended. Following the success of the movie, many were under the impression that he was going to have a long, successful career. While his co-stars went to star in franchises like Lord of the Rings and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Jeff decided to go the opposite direction and he quit acting entirely. Unfortunately, he was being pegged as a chubby actor, so that's exactly what people were trying to cast him in. And rather than give him room to grow and breathe, studios were just trying to typecast him as this big nerdy dude in every single project. He found it difficult to secure work, and it was unfortunately puberty that secured his fate. He was going from chunk to hunk, according to an interview with the Daily Mail, and eventually he realized that it just made sense to give up for now and try something else. So that is exactly what he did. He went to school, focused on his mental health, and he got a degree in law. And now he works out of a law firm that he co-founded with his business partner, Cohen Gardner. So good for you, Jeff. Number 4. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Mary-Kate and Ashley were once the stars of their own show back in the day, and they made several movies together like Double Double, Toil and Trouble, and New York Minute. Now around 2005, these two suddenly stopped making movies or TV appearances out of the blue. It turns out that they had been fed up with the movie business. Not just that, but the amount of toxic men in the field really came to light. Apparently they were being harassed or mistreated all the time at a very young age. It's no wonder that they hated most of their time on set. Since stepping away from the movie industry, the twins launched a fashion brand called The Row, a company that has won several awards, even taking home the highest honor of the Council of Fashion Designers of America. Gee, that sounds like a fashion Illuminati to me. Probably some pretty comfy robes though. Number 3. Barret Oliver. The Never-Ending Story was a staple in many childhoods. Filled with magic and mystery, this film was dropped in our lives in 1984 and featured some of the most beautiful practical effects ever put to screen, and some really weird puppets. The main character of the story is Bastian, a young man who finds a book about the world of Fantasia. Now we only see Barret as the narrator a few times over the course of the film, but in the final act he is whisked into the world of Fantasia. Barret starred in a handful of projects in the 1980s, but following 1985's Cocoon, Barret decided to stop acting. The success of the film Never-Ending Story was causing him trouble at school. Kids would be making fun of him and they actually called him Fur Boy. It was not fun. So he decided to quit acting and focused on another career. Oliver now works as a photographer and printer, specifically antique photos. So if you see a man with a long black beard and dreadlocks asking you for a photo on the boardwalk, it might be the kid from the Never-Ending Story. Number 2. Peter Ostrum. From the moment he walked into the room, talent agents immediately knew that Peter was the perfect pick to play Charlie Buckets after seeing him partake in theater productions in Ohio. The young talent and his co-stars began filming in Munich in the summer of 1970 as he was approaching the 7th grade. The film was released in June 1971 and is still considered to be a classic in the world of cinema. It's personally been giving me joy and scaring the life out of me since I was a young lad. Following the success of the film, you'd think Peter would have continued to act, but instead he decided to step down and focus on his true passion, being a veterinarian. That's right, if you live in New York, there is a very good chance that Charlie frickin' Buckets had your cat spayed or neutered. In recent years, he has told interviewers and fans that the movie business just wasn't for him. Number 1. Jake Lloyd. Jake was the little boy that became a Sith Lord, playing young Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1. While his character eventually becomes Darth Vader, Lloyd's personal life would turn out to be just as rough. Following the release of the film, Jake was actually picked on relentlessly by both his peers and Star Wars fans. He grew up with people hating him in public settings and cursing his name whenever Episode 1 was even mentioned. Seriously, Star Wars fans are just plain mean, man. Jake eventually decided to quit acting for good and save himself from any more public backlash. All that hate seemed to stick with Jake over the years though, as he had become more and more violent in the public eye, and he was becoming well known for being short-tempered. In 2015, police chased the 26-year-old Lloyd for 25 miles before he crashed off the side of a road on Interstate 95 in South Carolina. He wasn't in intoxicated at the time, but after being arrested and sent for a psychiatric evaluation, it was concluded that the young actor had just been suffering from schizophrenia and he was held for treatment. Thankfully, currently Jake is in a much better place mentally speaking, but his career will unfortunately never recover. And those are the child actors that just couldn't handle the heat. Who did we miss? Let us know in the comments below. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you very much. Leave a like if you had a good time. It means a lot to us here at the channel. Thanks for stopping me on the screen today, and we'll see you next time.